What's up, everyone? All right, so in today's episode, I'm going to give you my watch list for Monday morning and the game plan for the week ahead. We are at the halfway point for the month of June, and I'm at about 65% of my goal for the month. So I'm a little ahead of schedule, which is good. Although I set a pretty aggressive goal of $1 million of profit. $1 million of profit for the month of June. I came up just shy of $1 million in May, and I think I can break $1 million here in June. And certainly with more days like I had on Friday, it's going to be well within reach. So let's go ahead and jump onto the charts and start breaking down the watch list for Monday morning. Now, I'm going to start by pulling up a couple of different scans. I'm going to pull up the continuation scan. I'm going to pull up the, recent reverse split scan, the after hour top gainer scanner. And then, of course, we have our top gainer scanner for from Friday still running here. So I'll just move these over just a smidge here, get them out of the way. All right, so I'm going to link these all up. There we go. And let's start by looking at RBNE. This was the stock that gave us the big move on Friday. Energy stock. Obviously, with the conflict in the Middle East, the price of energy and oil has gone up. So this is a small cap energy stock that got a nice boost of momentum on Friday thanks to that catalyst. Will it continue into Monday? Well, the conflict isn't getting any better, but the price action on this seems that sort of it's peaked and come back down. So I think it's worth noting that when we've traded stocks that have been based on a sort of external catalyst, like a company that is in a crypto space trading as Bitcoin goes higher, we've had days where the price keeps going higher and higher and higher, and it almost seems to become, it's like initially correlated with Bitcoin going higher, that this stock goes higher, and then it just kind of does a squeeze and goes crazy, and then it comes back down. And Bitcoin might steadily keep going higher, and you're like, well, why does this come down? Why doesn't it keep going just higher and higher and higher? But what essentially happened was on one day it got so extreme that then it came back down, and now the balance just isn't really there for it to maintain those levels. And so that stock kind of goes out of focus, and then traders shift to something different. So it's possible that we'll see momentum in other energy names. It's going to depend on a couple of different factors and what energy prices are looking like tomorrow morning. But, as we sit right now, S&P futures are basically down just slightly, hardly, more or less flat versus the close from Friday. So, it doesn't seem like the market is having a strong reaction to the events from over the weekend. So, I think that energy is still worth keeping an eye on, but I'm not sure that it's going to be more trades on RBNE. So RBNE got some nice profit on that on Friday, finished Friday with $116,000, something like that. So really strong day. Let's see, I'll give you my P&L here from Friday. So that was Friday, 115,000. But you can see that I had a couple of kind of like slow, smaller days here. Obviously I had these incredible days. There was like 6 of them in a row. And then things cooled off a little bit. 40,000, 16,000, a red day, and then 36, 21, but then 115 on Friday. So RBNE, probably side chart, not sure. Daily chart, based on the big candle on Friday, yes, it's green, which is better than it could have been, but it's got this larger topping tail. So if we open tomorrow at around 11, and maybe we sell off a little bit, maybe we sell off for 2 days, and then coming in on Wednesday, first candle to make a new high, I don't know. That would be probably our best case scenario, that we get a little bit of pullback for a couple days, then rally. So I'm just going to let that happen. Houston American Energy Company or Corporation, this one also made a big move on Friday. As you may recall, it began early, 6:30 in the morning, 5 in the morning, pulled back, and then gave another move around 10:30, 11 a.m. before selling off. But this one feels like it's set up a little bit better. Now, you'll also notice that this one is on our recent reverse split scanner right here. So checking the daily chart, somewhat recent reverse split, very low float, million shares, curling above the 200 moving average. And now it's like, this thing has room if it wants to keep going. I don't know if it will, but it certainly would be interesting if it does. High back here gives you room to 32. So right now we've got no resistance on the daily chart until $32 a share. All right, so that's a lot of room. That's something to be aware of. So this one I would keep on watch because it's holding up a little bit better than RBNE. And then OP, this is another stock, had a big move on Friday and squeezed into the close from $1.20 all the way to $2.60, but now is pulled back. You know, I'm sort of hoping this one's not in focus tomorrow because it's cheaper. It'll be thickly traded. It won't be easy for me. So I'm gonna hope that doesn't end up giving us anything, but if it's possible that it will. So OP, that's on a side chart. TMDE, this one popped up, sold off, so that one's not in play. A couple other energy stocks, but none of those really are set up. So now in the continuation scanner, MFI, I'll just pull up this one. So big range, a somewhat recent listed stock, sells off, pops back up here. Over 4 looks much more interesting. 13 million share float. The problem is it's very light on volume. NA, this is a stock that I've traded before. It does have a history of putting in some big moves. Nano Labs, it's unfortunately though, it's lacking volume. That's a major issue. KZIA, this made a big move earlier in the week, last week, and it's still holding up relatively well, right? So it didn't give back all of the gains. It didn't go back to 5. It's still holding this level right here. So if this curls back up, then we'd be looking for a break through the high. So what would give us that curl? Technical breakout, pure technicals, basically first daily candle to make a new high. So we zoom in on the daily chart, do auto. So first daily candle to make a new high, right? That's kind of what we were talking about with RBNE. Maybe. It's a little tough that first daily candle is red. But imagine this. Imagine the company puts out news, tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday, whatever. Sometime this week you get a big squeeze and all of a sudden that could send it. So KZIA, I'm going to put that on a side chart because if it gets news or it just starts to get some volume because it made that big move earlier last week, it's worth watching. URGN, not sure about this one, floats 43 million shares. PTHL, light on volume. PHAT, 53 million shares. SGMT, 25 million. These floats are a little higher, so I'm kind of skipping over them. DFDV, price is a little higher on that, so that's not really ideal, I don't think. HUSA, we've already looked at that one. UMAC, yeah. And I could just briefly check by float. HUSA, KZIA, PTNL, light volume. Somewhat recent IPO though, right? So, we've had some big recent IPO squeezes. So I'll put that on a side chart as well. So I'll put that up on the top corner, PNTM. BANL, a little too cheap. This one's too expensive. AYTU, a little on the cheaper side. GSIW, below the 200. ALAR, little light on volume. INDO, energy stock as well, but not as clean as Houston. Not sure why. NA, and then floats start to get a little higher. Okay. All right. Recent reverse splits. So obviously HUSA leading the way there. Could check by float, could check by volume. I suppose I'll look at float first because we know some of these lower float stocks, when they get news, can make big moves. So CERO, wow, this chart's just been crushed. Golly. All right, well, I don't know, but, wild card stock. Look, if this ends up on the scanner one day because it's got breaking news, I'm already going to be like, oh, I know this is a recent reverse split, so I'm going to pay a little closer attention to it. APDN, this is probably going to be the same story with all of these. Just check the chart, be familiar with the ticker, and then if you end up seeing this stock hitting the scans with news, you'll recall, oh, it's on the reverse split scan. That's the type of stock that could make potentially a bigger move. But I don't see anything on here that I would be like watching for tomorrow morning. All right. Then after hours top gainers, US Steel. So, I don't know. That's not the type of stock we would trade. Let's see. SATS, SATS. Not sure about this one. Let me just see the float. 126 million shares. BATL. So BATL, yeah, interesting chart. AIRO, somewhere, IPO, pops up, sells off. But these can be tricky on day one. MXC, energy stock, Mexico Energy Corp. So that's one to keep an eye on. I'll put that on a side chart too, MXC. Again, I'm not sure that we're going to get anything on it, but if we keep seeing momentum in the energy names, it's a possibility. Pretty low float as well. Daily charts, that's 14. So this had a big move in 2021 or 2022, I guess it was. So its all-time high is, well, it went up to 41, but just something to be aware of there. Okay, so that's MXC. All right, so at this point, we've got a couple of stocks on side charts: HUSA, KZIA, PNTM, MXC. S&P 500, I'll certainly check tomorrow morning. I'll see what the sort of just position looks like if we're having a big gap. But right now, the futures don't show a big gap, so I think we're probably short. I mean, unless something happens tonight, we should be okay for tomorrow. So then at that point, it's going to be bright and early watching this scanner right here to see what is the leading gainer between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m., which stock is already getting some momentum, what's the sector, and then watching the small cap high day momentum scanner right here to jump on stocks that are starting to squeeze. So that's going to be my game plan for Monday morning. And for those of you guys that haven't already done a 2-week trial at Warrior Trading, spend the next 2 weeks of the month, or the next half of the end of the month, trading side by side with me. You'll be in the chat room. You'll get my live audio video broadcast where you can see me trading in real time. You'll see my positions window. And you can use this software on your own computer. You'll have your own installation of it. So you'll have charts, scanners, news feed, and you really get a sense of what it's like to be a momentum trader. So I'd say take the leap. It's $20 for 2 weeks. So I think it's money well spent. I think you'll enjoy it. All right, so check out that 2-week trial. And I did upload an episode yesterday on one of the tricks that helped me produce a 76 consecutive day hot streak. And this month, I did have a red day. But so far this year, I have had only 2 red days. So if we go back the whole year here, I've only had 2 red days. And that's not by accident. It's because of a very specific strategy that I've been implementing that's helped me lose less. So I'll put a link to that episode right here. I'll put a link to another one there. And I hope you guys check them out. And I'll remind you, as always, trading's risky. My results aren't typical. So manage your risk and always practice in a simulator before putting real money on the line. I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, streaming at 7 a.m. for members at Warrior Trading.